kitchen sink, drying the breakfast dishes as her mother washed them. Mrs. Arable worked silently. She hoped Fern would go out and play with other children instead of heading for the Zuckerman's barn to sit and watch animals. Charlotte is the best storyteller I ever heard, said Fern, poking her dish towel into a cereal bowl. Fern, said her mother sternly, you must not invent things. You know spiders don't tell stories. Spiders can't talk. Charlotte can, replied Fern. She doesn't talk very loud, but she talks. What kind of story did she tell? Asked Mrs. Arable. Well, Fern, dear, how would a fish get in a spider's web? Said Mrs. Arable. You know it couldn't happen. You're making this up. Oh, it happened all right, replied Fern. Charlotte never fibs. This cousin of hers built a web across a stream. One day she was hanging around on the web, and a tiny fish leaped into the air and got tangled in the web. The fish was caught by one. Gone, she sighed. Lurvy, at work building a crate for Wilbur, heard the song and knew it was time to dig potatoes. Summer is over and gone, repeated the crickets. How many nights till frost, sang the crickets. Goodbye, summer, goodbye, goodbye. He was stuck up, but it never did. Wilbur was modest. Fame did not spoil him. He still worried some about the future, as he could hardly believe that a mere spider would be able to save his life. I asked Wilbur. Oh, I just don't feel like leaving my web. Too much going on around here. Please come with me, begged Wilbur. I need you, Charlotte. I can't stand going to the fair without you. You just got to come. No, said Charlotte, I believe I'd better stay home and see if I can't get some work done. Chapter 16, Off to the Fair. The night before the county fair, everybody went to bed early. Everybody in, called Mr. Arable. He started the motor. The ladies climbed in beside him. Mr. Zuckerman and Lurvy and Fern and Avery rode in back, hanging on to the sideboards. The truck began to move ahead. Each cheered. Children answered their cheer, and away went everybody. 39, please move your car away from the fireworks shed. Can I have some money? Asked Fern. Can I too? Asked Avery. I'm going to win a doll by spinning a wheel, and it will stop at the right number, said Fern. I'm going to steer a jet plane and make it bump into another one. Can I have a balloon? Asked Fern. Can I have a frozen custard and a cheeseburger and some raspberry soda pop? Asked Avery. You children be quiet till we get the pig unloaded, said Mrs. Arable. Let's let the children go off by themselves, suggested Mr. Arable. The fair makes weak jokes. Also, he's not anywhere near as clean as you are, nor as pleasant. I took quite a dislike to him in our brief interview. He's going to be a hard pig to beat, though, Wilbur, on account of his size and weight. But with me helping you, it can be done. When are you going to spin a web? Asked Wilbur. Saying anything to anybody, he started off. Bring me back a word, Charlotte called after him. I shall be writing tonight. The last midway, and you could hear the crackle of the gambling machines, and the music of the merry-go-round, and the voice of the man in the Beano booth calling numbers. The children felt refreshed after their fussy and going higher and higher into the air, and saw how happy Fern looked. She just shook her head. My, she said. Henry Fussy. Think of that. Templeton kept out of sight in the tall grass behind the cattle barn and the space in the middle of the web. At this hour, no people were around the pig pen, so the rat and the spider and the pig were by themselves. Fireworks began going off, rockets scattering fiery balls in the sky. By the time the Arables and the Zuckermans and Lurvy returned from the grandstand, Charlotte had finished her web. The word humble was woven neatly in the center. Nobody noticed it in the darkness. Everyone was tired and happy. Fern and Avery climbed into the truck and lay down. They pulled the Indian blanket over them. Lurvy gave Wilbur a forkful of fresh straw. Mr. Arable patted him. Time for us to go home, he said to the pig. See you tomorrow. Left it tonight, she said. Wilbur closed his eyes. Charlotte, he said after a while, do you really think Zuckerman will let me live and not kill me when the cold weather comes? Do you really think so? Of course, said Charlotte. You were a famous pig. So I kept on, just to keep my mind occupied. It's a perfectly beautiful egg sack, said Wilbur, feeling as happy as though he had constructed it himself. Yes, it is pretty, replied Charlotte, patting the sack with her two front legs. Anyway, I can guarantee that it is strong. It's made out of the toughest material I have. It is also waterproof. The eggs are inside spring in the barn cellar with 514 baby spiders running around all over the place. And the geese will have a new set of goslings, and the sheep will have their new lambs. Maybe, said Charlotte quietly. However, I have a feeling I'm not going to see the results of last night's efforts. I don't feel grow up well with the dew on it. Charlotte's web never looked more beautiful than it looked this morning. Each strand held dozens of bright drops of early morning dew. The light from the east struck his eyes. His stomach was as big around as a jelly jar. What a night! There are 514 eggs in that peachy little sack. Is this true? Asked the rat, eyeing the sack suspiciously. Yes, it's true, sighed Charlotte. Congratulations, murmured Templeton. This has been a night. Wilbur grew beautifully white and smooth. The morning sun shone through his pink ears. He isn't as big as that pig next door, remarked one bystander. But he's cleaner. That's what I like. Eat your pig, please, Mr. Zuckerman, and report to the judge's booth promptly. Showing off. Mrs. Zuckerman and Mrs. Arable stood on the running board of the truck. Ladies and gentlemen, said the loudspeaker, we now present Mr. Homer L. Zuckerman's distinguished pig. The fame of this unique animal has spread to the far corners of the earth, attracting many valuable tourists to our great state. Many of you will recall that never-to-be-forgotten day last summer, when the writing appeared. How about me? Asked the third spider. Will you just pick out a nice, sensible name for me, something not too long, not too fancy, and not too dumb? Wilbur thought hard. Nellie, he suggested. Fine, I like that very much, said the third spider. You may call me Nellie. She daintily fastened her orb line to the next spoke of the web. She was never without friends. Fern did not come regularly to the barn anymore. She was growing up and was careful to avoid childish things. And the pig was often visited by friends and admirers, but nobody ever forgot the year of his triumphs of sheep, the love of spiders, the smell of manure, and the glory of everything.
Furniture, commemorative plates, reproduction china dolls, anything she thought would add a touch of class to our household. And a letter addressed to Mr. and Mrs. Wells, Mum and Dad. A proper letter in a big white envelope, not a bill. Ignoring the catalogue, Mum took hold of the letter and ran her finger under the seal. There was a letter inside and some sort of brochure. I peered at it as best I could. I saw the words boarding school. My heart started beating fast. Oh, God, they were going to send Jody to boarding school. I wouldn't be able to bear it. No, Mum, I said, my laughing. Heaven help any pupils if I had to teach them their reading and writing. No, no, sweetheart. I'm going to be the school caretaker, and your mum's going to be the school cook. We saw this advert for a married couple, and it seemed like we might fit the bill. It's time for a move, said Mum. We need to get you girls away to a decent environment where you can grow up into little ladies. Jody made a very unladylike noise. We like it here, don't we, Pearl? We don't want to go to some awful jolly hockey sticks boarding. We didn't say anything because we didn't want to get your hopes up. To tell the truth, I never thought in a million years they'd take me on. I mean, I'm fine with wood, but I'm a bit of a botcher when it comes to plumbing or painting. Don't be silly, Joe. You're a skilled carpenter and a fine odd job man. What else could they possibly want, said Mum. No, I think we got the job because of your cooking and management skills, said Dad, reaching out and patting her hand. You were dead impressive at the interview, Sharon. The way you had that list of sample meals all sorted out, that was fantastic. Where is this Melchester child there? It's a wonderful opportunity for you two. You mean we're supposed to have lessons there? Said Jodie. That's the whole point, said Mum. You've learned nothing this last year at Moorcroft. We're going to have you repeating year 8, getting properly taught. I'm not repeating a year with a lot of posh kids. To one of the public schools, said Mum. What? Are you crazy, Mum? I'm not going. Absolutely no way. Jodie was shouting. Hey, Jodie, listen to me, said Dad. We'll be there all through the summer holidays, so you'll have lots of time to settle in. I know you're going to love it when you get there. I won't. I'll hate it. I'm not going. You can't make me. Of course we can. You'll do as we... Just so as I can look after you, okay? You'll really come to Melchester College, I said, putting my arms round her neck and hugging her tight. Yes, I'll hate it, but I'll come, just for you, said Jodie. Now quit strangling me and snuggle up and go to sleep. I wonder how many times we said the word. I was sitting at the top of the stairs, shivering in my nightie, anxiously gnawing at a hangnail on my thumb. The slap was such a shock, I ripped the hangnail halfway down my thumb, making it bleed. It was so sore that tears sprang. I danced with heaps of boys, said Jodie. More than Shanice and them, and they got a bit knocked and went off without me. Marie said it was a slag because I let this boy snog my face off. You never. Didn't. Whatever. Which boy? I don't know. He told me his name, but I couldn't hear it properly because it was so noisy. Marty or Barty. Maybe it was Farty. Jodie. He wouldn't leave me alone. Boys either, I said. Some of the girls in my class have got boyfriends. They say I'm a baby. Well, I'm a baby. Something that was packed right away. Dad was out all day and half the night, trying to complete all the bookshelves and bathroom cabinets on his order book. He had a farewell do with his mates at work and came home all tearful, saying they were a cracking bunch of lads, like brothers.